Hello and welcome to another video. Today we are doing the Q&A because this channel has reached over 100 subscribers, which is amazing, and I want to thank you for everyone who has been liking, commenting and sharing the videos that I make. Hopefully the quality is improving and I'm getting a bit more comfortable in front of the camera. So today I want to do a little Q&A with you guys. So these questions I've written myself, because I think if I try to ask anyone questions on Instagram or anything like that, I don't actually think I'd get that many responses or anything concrete. So these are the questions that I've written, but if you have any more questions, pop them down below in the comments and I will do another Q&A in a few months' time. So let's get started. So question 1 is, when did you get into vintage fashion? I think I was about 13 when I got into the 50s pin-up fashion. Marilyn Monroe was my girl, she was my icon. Then I kind of started to like Audrey Hepburn and I stayed with the 50s fashion up until I was maybe 17. When I was 18, I went to a vintage clothing fair and I kind of discovered other styles. And that's when I got really heavily into floral patterns. And I would wear headbands with floral headbands. And then I started looking at photos of Sharon Tate. Now this became a very healthy obsession. If you're gonna be obsessed with something, be obsessed with perfection, beauty, with kindness, with grace. Sharon Tate has been my icon since I was about 18, 19. That's when I started the Instagram called Vintage Retro Beautiful, which is now my Instagram. She's just a doll. I shared loads of photos of Sharon. I was really hooked on her photos. I could admire them for hours, and that's what I did. I would go on Pinterest or on Google Images and I would just look at Sharon's photos and just be completely captivated by her beauty. It was incredible. So Sharon was very famous in the 1960s, and then I got into the 60s, and I had a very big bias towards the 60s because I really didn't like the preppy look. I've noticed a few people were wearing these dresses that were plaid and mini and like had like a Peter Pan color, and I really didn't like that. I thought it was really preppy, especially when paired with Doc Martens. I sit on like outfits that have a really nice dress and then a paired with like these heavy work boots. Like, ew. There's so much variety in the 1960s fashion, especially if you look at other countries. Not every country had the same fashion trends at the same time, and not every country accepted the fashion trends, which is very interesting to learn. So the next question is, would you want to live in the 1960s? And my answer is yes, because I would love to see the Beatles live and I would love to be in the culture, and especially cosmopolitan cities like London. It was called Swinging London for a reason, because it was so vibrant, there was so much culture, people were very open. But at the same time, I know there was a lot of political upheaval, especially with the Vietnam War. At the same time, if I did grow up in the 60s, because I'm quite an eccentric person, I don't know whether I would actually reject the fashion or embrace it. Because I'm originally from Poland, if I lived in the 1960s, but I lived in Poland, I think I would have to live under communism, which is obviously really bad. So if I could decide, I'd probably live somewhere like Los Angeles. Who knows, I could be friends with Sharon Tate and Bruce Lee. You never know. But it's always nice to dream. I don't like to idealize the decade because I know that with every generation and every time period, there is the other side. So the next question is,
are you a mod or a rocker?
No, I'm a mocker.
what got you into the 1960s? I'd say looking at photos of Sharon Tate and then looking at photos of average everyday people and what they wore. Another thing that attracted me into the 1960s is femininity. I feel like women in today's societies reject femininity and embrace masculinity, which, you know, works for some people, but in general I prefer femininity in a woman, especially the way she dresses. So in the 1960s it seemed like that was very much embraced, especially with the rise of the mini. There was also the aspect of girliness, which is a bit more innocent and a bit more playful, and I think that's what fashion should be about. It should be about embracing yourself and having fun. Worst fashion decade? The 80s. Best fashion decade? The 60s. The oldest vintage item you possess? This 1940s jewelry box, I believe it's from the 1940s. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it could be even from the 30s, just judging by the illustration. So this is actually a jewelry box, and I can never say this word because I'm foreign. I can never say it properly. Jewelry box, jewelry box. This is just like a cardboard box, and I know they used to put jewelry in it. So maybe this is like a 1930s/40s item. I'm not sure, but judging by her shoes, I think they could be from the 30s, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not very educated on pre-60s fashion. So this is probably the oldest thing I own. I can't think of anything else that I own that could be older because I mainly collect from the 1960s and 70s. That was actually a gift from a friend when I was in secondary school who knew I was into the 50s fashion, and she found it at a charity shop and thought of me. So it was very kind of her, and she gave it to me. And I've kept it, and it's been maybe 6 or 7 years and I've still kept it. So yeah, this is probably the oldest thing I own. So this is the end of the Q&A. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, pop them down below, and like I said, I'll do another Q&A. And thank you so much again for everyone who has brought me support in growing this channel, and I hope it grows even more in the future so that we can all connect and we can all share a great vintage passion. Have a look at my Etsy shop and my social media handles, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and stay groovy.